2021 forecasting for each individual rising sign. I would just like to start with a general overview. And I'd also like to start by thanking the Almighty God for protecting us and helping us through 2020, as He will continue doing for us moving forward. Now we will see a shift towards more online schooling, shopping with the North Node in Gemini, as we've seen happening already in 2020, including most forms of communication, trade, other businesses and online businesses will become the norm. Cash will be less heard of, and eventually moving more towards the past and digital forms. So for most of 2021, we could be experiencing some uncomfortability as we have a difficult square aspect in the sky between Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus, both fixed signs that don't really want to budge, and both are co-rulers of this beautiful Aquarian age that we're moving into now. And they are not in a harmonious conversation, and therefore we can expect that this is going to take more work and will take more time before the idealistic Aquarian age can be reached, so to speak. We will have to contend with much more restrictions of our freedoms. We'll have to contend with restrictions that will include freedom of speech on all platforms, probably, information, the internet, separation, probably new legislation in regards to aviation in general and flying. Of course, a lack of privacy goes with tracking, as well as alliance integration. And really it is the old versus the new, and we will see many rebel and stand up for their rights, and we'll also see a lot of disciplinary action and fining throughout the year. It's very much an order out of chaos energy, so I don't want to pretend like this is going to be this amazing year. Of course, there will be blessings. It's very seldom in life where we only have good or only have bad. There's always a mixture of the two, and it'll all depend on how we approach our obstacles. We'll be forced to be more creative and to find new possibilities and to connect to the higher vibration of God. We will probably learn to live more moment to moment and to really appreciate the little things, to appreciate the family, our family that's around us that we normally take for granted. And it will be good for us to stay in gratitude of the things that we do have and do the best with what we can and what we do have, and to focus on nature and on the sunrise, to remind yourself that God is still in control and that the truth is steady and secure. And as long as you're rooted in the truth, nothing can sway you, and it doesn't matter what your circumstances or reality look like, you know where your roots are. So that will be very important throughout the year. And we will be moving towards living much lighter and more flexible. It will be wise to be prepared, and also to really look where you can be of service and of help in the community as well, and how people can help each other. I recently saw in Marketplace a lady that started a group that just basically gives things away. So it's people that maybe they didn't lose their job, and they still have an income and they're still okay, but they have maybe some children's shoes that they don't need anymore, and instead of selling them, they're donating them, or they're just posting it and someone can come pick it up, hey, I've got a size 7 this or that. And people are really starting to come together and help each other out, and I think we'll be seeing a lot more of that. And your currency is really going to become your talents and skills and the things that make you unique. And if you can sew something and someone else can build something, and you can trade services and you can trade things, we're going to see a lot more of that happening going forward. We'll see a lot of ups and downs, like I've said in my previous video as well, of the financial world. We're looking at a global recession for a long time. This is also a time where we will become more aware of each other's similarities and connectedness than each other's differences. And we will be more focused on our purpose and the contemplation of the deeper meaning of life and the deeper side of life. And that'll be more the order of the day. And Jupiter will bring in much learning and also guidance from above to help us navigate through this grief period of the loss of the familiar. And it will allow us to tap into the Creator's energy and make lemonade out of lemons. And through that, we will establish amazing connections with like-minded people, with our Creator, and there will be much spiritual blessings coming from this year going forward. So let's begin with your individual rising signs 2021 forecasting. Welcome, Pisces rising, sun or moon. Please listen to your rising sign first, as this will give you the most accurate placement in the forecast. Well, let's start with your 11th house of Capricorn, where Pluto has been since 2008 and will continue to be there until 2023. And this is usually a period of great changes in regards to your goals for the future or your plans for the future and so forth. Now, your 11th house deals with goals and plans for the future. It deals with alliances, friends. It can be co-workers or the financials of the company you work for. It can also be regulations, licensing, politics, memberships of all kinds, groups that you belong to. It can even bring in a son or daughter-in-law, and basically unbonded relationships. So you might find that you certain activities or say it was a group membership like a walking club or something like that, might not be fun for you any longer, or you might change or want to change the group of friends you hang out with, or maybe you're realizing that the goals that you've been pursuing is not worth it anymore, or there needs to be a change there. But there's sort of an ending and a beginning here for you. With Pluto, this is a long transit, but Pluto tends to break down first and then build up again. So there are periods during this transit that might be a bit uncomfortable, where you feel like you don't belong in those same circles anymore. But it will bring in growth and change for you in a very deep level. So sometimes what this can mean is that you might seek out friendships or advice from someone, or connections with people that have a very powerful impact on you.
it can sometimes indicate that you're coming into contact with very powerful people, or just people that have a profound impact on you. But whatever it is, the connections you make during this long transit will be directly related to your individual growth as a person. And you have sort of on a deeper level been seeking this. Sometimes you have to watch to not be manipulated onto the wrong path or into the wrong circles. At times this can indicate meeting someone that sort of guides you in some way or advises you in some areas. And you might also meet people that are more interested in changing society, and therefore there might be some alliances that you are leaving, friendships that you're ending for your own good, in order for you to be able to align more with people and groups and activities that are in line with your purpose and your new goals for the future. And so there will be adjustment here. You will realize certain truths about your future. And then Neptune is in Pisces and has been since 2011-12 and will be there until 2025. And this is your first house. And with Neptune here, your first house deals with yourself. It deals with your body. It deals with your health, the way you look, the way you present yourself, the way other people see you. It also can represent your personality, your attitude towards life, your perspective, your intentions, the beginning of a new direction, your present moment. It can also affect your personal relationships with a spouse or, say, a business partner, nieces and nephews, or can also be affected with this relationship axis. Now, with Neptune here, this is a long transit, and through the transit, depending on where you are in it, you might find that your interactions with others will be affected. It can be a bit more difficult for you to interact with other people. You might be putting up a front or a face that's not really you. Neptune can sometimes put on a mask. But sometimes it's just because it helps you to relate to others by sort of pretending to be something that maybe you aren't fully. This can be a difficult transit for relationships. You can sometimes attract people, the wrong people, because of the fact that you are not representing yourself authentically, and therefore you're attracting people to the wrong you, if I can put it in that way. Sometimes it can cloud your sense of reality. You can be more easily misled with Neptune here, so be aware of that. Sometimes it can sort of make you look at life through rose-colored glasses, in the sense that you're living something that's not really true. You want it to be true, but it's not really the way you want it to be. Projects can be very idealistic with Neptune here. But if you are being unrealistic, it can have unfortunate results. So you could have been unrealistic about relationships, and also your perspective on your life in general. Sometimes under this transit, you can also want to save other people in relationships, maybe from a self-sabotaging habit such as alcoholism or drugs, or something that's a form of escapism. And this doesn't mean that this is necessarily the case, but this can potentially be one of the outcomes. It can also suggest a feeling of unworthiness within the self with Neptune here, and sort of needing a strong person to lean on that helps you feel more confident and become more dependent. But this can bring you into unhealthy relationships. So you want to be more aware of this. Neptune can cloud your vision in a way and make you live sort of in a dream. And then when Neptune wakes you up from your slumber, it can sometimes be a bit of a shock. There can also be more misunderstandings in regards to relationships. And on a positive level, it can make relationships more spiritually in tuned, more romantic. It can bring in a lot of beauty and sort of an unconditional love as well. At times through this transit, you might find yourself being misunderstood by others, or you can be confused about certain decisions in regards to relationships or yourself or the way you look. You can feel like you are sort of losing yourself and not entire. It's sort of like you're in a search for yourself. Can also transpire with Neptune here, and so just be aware of that as well. And then Uranus is in Taurus in your third house and has been since 2018 and will be there until 2026. And your third house deals with your siblings. It deals with your neighbors, your relatives, your neighborhood, your everyday trips, commuting to work, short courses, for example, a course for work, maybe a computer course you have to learn for work, communication, emails. It can be social media, the media itself. It can be language, your learning and thinking and your decision making and your skills and short trips and so forth. Now with Uranus here, the day-to-day communication with these people that I've mentioned in these areas, and especially with your relationships in this area with relatives or siblings or so forth, can change. The focus of them can change. And your day-to-day dealings can be more unconventional, or more, there can be more unexpected events in regards to this area. Sudden disruptions or sudden changes. You can also go through a huge mental attitude change with this transit. And it can force you to look at life from a different perspective. You can find that your daily habits are changing, the way you communicate, the way you think about things. You might be able to start understanding things that previously you were unable to. And the tempo of your life can change considerably with Uranus here. You might not take things so easily for granted. And for example, like relatives and siblings, and you might start noticing that you need to pay more attention to that, because we tend to keep taking people that are close to us for granted. Sort of like we can talk to them however we want because, you know, they know me. They know who I am. They know I didn't really mean this or that. And this might be something that also comes to your attention, that those everyday communications are in fact even more important than anything else. Those close relationships that you have really need to be nurtured and respected. But there will be huge changes in regards to how you see these relationships, how you communicate through this, and how you think and make decisions. Now, if you're not willing to make the changes that might need to take place in this area, whether it's an abrupt change in your neighborhood or your commute, maybe a vehicle, like suddenly you might need a new transportation of some kind, then these changes will be more upsetting to you. So it's important for you to stay flexible and open towards changes in this area. Sometimes it can make you feel a bit insecure because it's so uncertain at times. Or it can be a bit upsetting at first because it's new. So just stay as flexible and as positive as you can. And believe in God's divine guidance through this. You know, if you're being rerouted in some way, it's usually for your own good. So try and see the bigger picture when sudden things do occur. And then Saturn, and then you'd also want to be a bit more careful as far as working with machinery and vehicle travel and any traveling in regards to accidents and so forth. It usually needs other transits as well to support something like that. But I would say in general, just to be more, not very impulsive and to think things through as you do them. And then Saturn will be transiting your 12th house of Aquarius as of December 2020 until 2023. And your 12th house deals with endings. It deals with your sleeping. It deals with self-sabotaging habits, subconscious controlling patterns from the past, faraway places, retreat centers. It deals with prayer and meditation. It deals with music and poetry. It can deal with loss. It can deal with grief. It can deal with the past and sadness or depression. It can also deal with orphans or some kind of charity work or organization of some kind. Now, usually with Saturn in this area of your chart, you are at a point where you need to complete things that you have not completed in the last few years, or there's issues in regards to the last few years that need to come to an end now. So it's not necessarily a wonderful time for new projects, but circumstances will compel you to finish things up during this transit, which is about 2.5 years. And certain aspects of your life will basically come to an end and fall away. You might find that it's like you have to sort of change everything in order to succeed, but you don't really know how. Sometimes this can make you, the fact that you know there needs to be certain changes, but you don't necessarily know how to go about them, it can make you feel like you want to withdraw. You sort of go within yourself. You spend more time in prayer and meditation and more time alone. And this can sometimes pull you into a depression. So if you feel like you're going into that, make sure that you get help and talk to someone to help you through this. But it's important to deal with what you are feeling right now and to really evaluate what has worked and what has not. And instead of judging and to see, whose fault it was or this or that, it's better to go through a period of observing and recognizing what needs to be left behind now, and what needs to be done in order for you to move forward in a practical, productive way that will create a long-lasting foundation for you. But you're basically clearing away leftovers in a way and making room for a new beginning. So this is a time where you want to sort of cut your losses in order for you to move forward. Don't spend too much time pondering on what you will be leaving behind, but more on what you will be moving forward towards and focusing on the positive. Sometimes it can indicate being hospitalized or having an illness, or just being more in seclusion. Maybe you are in quarantine or something like that. But it can feel very pressured with this transit. But this is a transit where there's a new beginning starting for you in your life. And then let's have a look at Jupiter. Jupiter will also be entering your 12th house here with Saturn in December 2020, and will be there for most of the year until about the end of November. And it'll briefly move into May and June into Pisces, your first house. Now, Jupiter here is a real blessing. You can learn much of the spiritual side of life, and it will help you very much in regards to prayer and support from others. It will allow you to look at your inner demons more with more compassion and self-forgiveness, and also towards others. And you might go through a period here where you genuinely want to help others more, realizing that we're all in the same boat, and you might be going through a period where you're realizing where other people are coming from. Sometimes this can indicate an old friend or a person from the past that comes back to help you and help you sort of heal from the past and prepare you for your moving into a new future. This can be a spiritual teacher, and it doesn't necessarily need to be someone that is an actual teacher or a preacher or a psychologist. It can be a person that you meet that teaches you wisdom and spiritually guides you in some way, and has an impact on you and on your direction in some way. This can even be a child. Now, it can also encourage disseminating information in regards to helping others, or in regards to spiritual truths and wisdom. You might find you have more involvement in the church or in some religious connection of some kind. Your intuitive knowledge will increase with this transit, so you'll be more spiritually attuned. You might have prophetic dreams. God might speak to you through dreams. You might also sleep better during this time. And it can also sometimes indicate travel opportunities, or learning, or teaching, or traveling to far off places, and so forth. Now, with Jupiter here, he will move into Pisces around May and June in your first house. And this will assist you in feeling more secure within yourself and help you to discover yourself on a deeper level individually. It'll help you to be more the authentic you. You will maybe have quite an impression on other people while Jupiter is here. Try to not be overconfident and exaggerate and be boastful during Jupiter's transit here. But this can be a period of learning and gaining through experience. This is usually a period where you outgrow childhood belief patterns and ways that you've maybe seen yourself, or that you've been seeing the world as. And this can be a moment where you're starting to understand the world at large and the universe on a much more profound level. Sometimes this can indicate being blessed with resources, or just assistance in some constructive way. You might feel very compassionate and altruistic at this time as well, and also help others And through this, both parties are being helped. This can be a great blessing in relationships, close relationships with a spouse or partner or business partner, and all your interactions with people in general. It can increase the belief in yourself as well as your faith and your belief in God. Just remain humble and don't think that you know it all. This is a learning transit, so stay open to other people's perspectives and views as well. Be flexible, and so forth. This can also be a period of putting on weight. With Jupiter here, you might find that your intake increases, so just be careful of too much sugar or donuts, and take care of your liver more, so watch the drinking as well. And then let's have a look at Mars. Now, Mars will be transiting through your third house as of the 7th of January in Taurus. And the third house deals with your neighborhood, your siblings. Like I've mentioned before, this is the area where Uranus is sitting. Now, your determination can increase here. Your practical direction can increase here. Your tempo of life might be busier during this time. You can have a higher chance of having conflicting arguments with siblings or neighbors or relatives or people that you deal with on an everyday basis. The lady at the grocery store. But it's very positive for if you're working on something. It'll give you more energy and a good work ethic. You will be able to work strongly on defending your ideas and beliefs during this time, but try not to be argumentative and pushing things down other people's throats in regards to how you understand and believe. And then this can sometimes indicate that you need to work on relationships with your siblings or relatives or neighbors or so on. Or maybe it's good to do a project with them. Like maybe, I've said this before, like build a fence together. And this can be a good bonding, growing experience. And just be aware of not arguing needlessly. Watch your communication. You might speak more harshly and be more aggressive during this time. You might practice aggressive driving and drive very fast. So be careful of accidents and speeding. Watch overreacting and impulsiveness. Sometimes this can indicate a new online business or working on something online, or maybe working on a writing project or teaching. But you'll be able to do much vigorous mental work with this transit. Your mental level will be very acute and bright. So this is great for that, for longer intellectual tasks and so forth. And then Mars will be conjuncting Uranus in this house at some point. And this can bring sudden unexpected events, sometimes anger outbursts with Mars here. Accidents is a danger due to your own carelessness. So be careful, don't be impulsive, think ahead, check your vehicle, make sure it's got everything it needs. Sometimes this can indicate surgery, not necessarily for yourself always, but it can also be in regards to these people I've mentioned in this area. Sometimes it can indicate a sudden move of neighborhoods, or suddenly you need a new car or new wheels, or something in regards to the internet or electricity or power, machinery of some kind. Sometimes this can also indicate working online with new technology of some kind, but try to avoid violent and rebellious groups of action. If there's protests and things going on in your neighborhood, try and avoid those spaces or dangerous areas. Be more careful in regards to candles in your home and fire and that kind of thing. And sometimes this can initiate the beginning of even studying something more esoteric and unconventional. Not normally accepted by most people. And then Mars will be in Cancer in your 5th house. And this will be around the 23rd of March. And your 5th house deals with your children, pregnancy, love affairs, fun, creative projects. It deals with sport, entertainment, theater, those types of topics. And with Mars here, you can be more emotionally reactive. It can be a bit more difficult to be objective. You can be more sensitive to people's criticisms. And sometimes this can bring in arguments or conflict in regards to close relationships, to maybe your children or a love affair, a lover, or people that you deal with, like say in a sport environment or something like that. But you will be more inclined to express your authentic self with this transit. You'll maybe find that you're more playful and you've got more energy. It'll be good for activities like sport or dancing or something physical. You might find yourself more competitive with this transit. And this can also indicate a new love connection. It can sometimes indicate pregnancy or the start of a pregnancy. It can bring in conflicts, like I said, with children and lovers. It can sometimes bring in accident possibilities as well, so be aware of that. Also speak to your children about that. And it can be a bit harder to focus on duties during this transit, because you'll be more focused on play and having fun and maybe spending time with a lover or spending time with children, and doing activities with them. It can also make you want to work on a creative project. Maybe you're starting something new, or you're maybe starting a new business that you're building up from scratch. That's sort of your baby. This can be the initiating of that as well. Now, while Mars is here, Mars will oppose Pluto. And this is where you could possibly meet up with some resistance of some kind. It can also be the culmination of persistent effort. It can be a bit of a power struggle. And this can be in regards to a powerful person or a friend, or something in regards to legislation or a son and daughter-in-law, and this area of your life in regards to children, fun. It can also be in regards to investments or something to do with money. It can also be a child's partner that's being dealt with here. But whatever it is that you're dealing with, it can be a very ruthless energy, very intense. There can be a disregard to others and vice versa. So you're encouraged to, if this is a difficult transit for you, because it's different for everyone. It depends on your natal positions as well. So for you, it might not be anything major at all. You might just be feeling a bit more intense during that time. But if this is something serious for you, you want to get assistance here and not go at it alone. And then Mars will be in Leo in your 6th house. And this will be around the 11th of June. And your 6th house deals with your health. It deals with your everyday duties and responsibilities. It deals with pets, caretaking of someone. It deals with your work environment, your cleanliness, your hygiene, your health routines and habits, Did I mention duties and responsibilities? If you're a business owner, this can be your employees, or it can be medical professionals as well, or uncles and aunts. Now with Mars here, your leadership ability increases and your drive for power and control is stronger. Your ambition will be much stronger, your willpower, and your sex drive will be more vigorous as well. Your urge to succeed will be more magnified usually with this transit. And with Mars in this house, this is a work house, and you can get a lot done. So your work ethic will be intense. You might have a lot to do and be very busy in your daily environment, or you will just be working very hard on something. But this can be a difficult transit in regards to working as a team or with other people. So you might have difficulty with superiors or authority figures. So it might be a time where, if you can help it, to try and work more by yourself or on a project on your own in order to avoid conflict. Sometimes this transit can even make you feel like, you know what, I'm going on this I want to work for myself trend, or something like of this effect. But try and avoid conflict if you can. Sometimes this can indicate that you feel unrecognized in your workplace, maybe. And it can sometimes mean that you are not recognizing your employees or the people that you work around and work with. So see if there's maybe an imbalance there, or maybe this is making you more aware of something. This can bring in health manifestations in regards to illness if you overwork and not rest enough. So make sure that you're not overdoing things. It's very easy to do that here. Sometimes Mars in this area can bring in headaches, fevers, infections, or even just inflammation. And it can also sometimes indicate accidents in the workplace, maybe with machinery or that type of thing. So just be more aware of that. It's a great time to exercise, especially to get rid of tension and stress from work that's building up. And like I said, don't overdo it, so that it doesn't manifest physically in some kind of problem. And then while Mars is here, it will oppose Saturn in your 12th house. And this can be an irritating aspect in regards to you wanting to do something and move forward and work and achieve and do things. And Saturn is saying, oh, now you're going too fast, slow down. Or here's a rule or two you need to get through first. Or you need more patience, or maybe it's an illness that slows you down, or, a temporary headache of some kind. So it can be a bit irritating. Sometimes this can be an ego conflict, that you meet up with some form of authority or restriction or disciplinary action of some kind. But it is in general very good for working on something very intensely. If you need to concentrate and focus on something very important, this is great for that. You might feel a little bit inadequate, maybe a little bit insecure with this aspect, but it shall pass. There are cases where this can indicate illness of some kind or even hospitalization. Sometimes there can be an activation of self-sabotaging habits, or maybe it can feel like you're fighting your own inner demons in a way, like a secret enemy kind of thing, even spiritually. Sometimes this can indicate depression or sadness, even loss, or some kind of past behavior issues can also flare up in regards to this. And then let's have a look at Mars in Virgo in your 7th house. Now, Mars will enter Virgo around the 29th of July. And your 7th house deals with your close relationships, your partner, your spouse, a business partner, people that you're very close to. But it's especially your life partner. Now, with Mars here, it denotes more efficiency, more orderliness in general. You're more solution-oriented in your relationship as well. And you're more able to look at things in a practical, systematic way. You might be more focused on health and hygiene and so forth during this transit, but it can bring in conflict in close relationships, also with coworkers, and people in your day-to-day environment. It can be more difficult for you to compromise and cooperate with others because you can tend to be more selfish with this transit. So try and compromise and try and really look at things from someone else's perspective. Sometimes if you are the one that is over-compromising most of the time and it's very imbalanced and unhealthy, this could be a very good transit for you to attack this problem and talk it out and work it out, work on the relationship. Mars is work. Mars is doing it, taking action. So you can take action towards this and rebalance those scales of compromise if it's been imbalanced. And if your relationship is already a very harmonious and good relationship, this could be indicating that you could just be working on something together. Maybe you're working on some kind of project together, or maybe you are starting a new health routine together, joining a gym, or cutting meat, or just changing your diet together, doing some kind of activity together as a team. Try not to fight over unnecessary, frivolous things. Mars here can make you very nitpicky and critical of others and overcritical of them as well as yourself, because it makes you have a very high expectations of yourself, and therefore you assume that other people must think and do the same as you. And this is not the case, because other people are not you. They cannot be like you. If they are, it is probably by chance. So this is important to remember when you are working on your relationship issues. Sometimes Mars here can indicate lawsuits, but of course this is all unique for every single natal chart, so it'll depend on your own transits that could or could not support that. And then Mars will oppose Neptune while it's in this house, in your first. And this can sometimes bring in issues of deception in regards to your partner and partnership, or some kind of illusion that you're under in regards to it. It can sometimes cause indecision in a matter in regards to your close relationships, even business relationships. It can indicate deception at times, or misunderstandings in regards to communicating with them. Or you might be experiencing a really spiritual time where you're more talking about and communicating about spiritual concepts. And you could be going through a very romantic period. So this can also be very beautiful depending on other transits in the chart and your natal positions. But basically, you also want to be careful of any schemes that you could be being taken advantage of. Try not to argue whilst drinking and relaxing. Watch your escapism tendencies in regards to drugs, pharmaceutical drugs and alcohol, and that type of thing. Sometimes this can also bring a sudden awakening out of like an illusion about a relationship, that you can maybe suddenly, something activates you to see things for what they really are. If you've been maybe seeing the relationship through rose-colored glasses, so to speak. And then let's have a look at Mars in Scorpio. Mars will be there in and around the 30th of October. And this will be in your 9th house. And your 9th house deals with higher education. It deals with philosophy, metaphysics. It deals with religion and prophecy and the law. It also deals with foreign countries, foreign interests, foreign people, dreams, publishing. It can deal with grandchildren and your in-laws, for example. Now with Mars here, you will probably be spending more time doing intellectual work, or maybe you are starting a new course of study or joining a new university somewhere. You'll be more likely to defend your beliefs with Mars here. You'll be more passionate and actively involved, maybe in disseminating information about how you believe or how you feel about the world and your understanding of the world and your view of the world. You might find yourself investigating spiritual aspects of life more and the deeper meaning of life, and you'll be able to dig really deep during this time. Because this is really a time for you to expand your mind, but also be open to other people's views and perspectives, as we're all on our own path in this journey. And we're all opening up and awakening at different times and different levels. And we're all trying to put the pieces together. Some have these pieces together, some have those pieces together, but nobody has the whole picture together yet. And we need to be tolerant of each other and supportive of each other and willing to listen and see each other's perspectives. Sometimes Mars here can indicate that you are maybe deciding to publish a book, or you're going to research philosophy, or you want to maybe travel, but be careful with traveling with Mars here. I would suggest having an astrologer look at your chart to see if it is a good time for you for travel, because Mars can sometimes indicate accidents, but it's usually only if other aspects and transits also support that, and you wouldn't know that unless you actually have someone look at the chart. And then this can sometimes indicate legal difficulties as well with Mars here, but you'll have more purposeful action and drive here. You'll be more passionate. It's kind of a do or die kind of passion that you have with Mars here. And your sex drive will also be much stronger with Mars and Scorpio here. And then let's have a look. And you might also have quite intense prophetic dreams or messages from above with Mars in this area. Mars will also oppose Uranus during this transit here, and this can sometimes make you more impatient, and you could be more easily able to strike out at others, maybe in regards to your beliefs. It can sometimes prompt accidents, so I wouldn't suggest traveling during the days that Mars would be opposing Uranus. And you might be more inclined to being short of fuse and more sensitive to, sort of losing your temper. It can be more easily to get into conflicts, and you might experience some electricity outages or internet outages. It can sometimes bring about harsh words, but it can also indicate a sudden start of maybe unusual studies, something unconventional that you might never have done before, or some sudden event happens overseas, that affects you, or it can be that, you know, something in your worldview can happen unexpectedly and really change the way you see things and understand things. But your view upon the world and the universe as a whole will be expanded through these transits. And then let's have a look at the retrogrades for the year. Now, Mercury will retrograde January 30th to February 21st in Aquarius. And this is your 12th house. And you can have some important dreams during this time. Issues from the past can come up in dreams. You can have insights. You can have secrets revealed. Sometimes you can feel a bit more sad with this transit. But ultimately, in letting go of the past, you are making room for growth and healing for the future. If you come across gossip during this time, it's most likely untrue, so check it out first. Try not to judge others. That's the lesson that needs to be learned here. You might find you're cutting back more on a social level and spending more time introspecting. You might be rethinking groups and alliances and friends during this time. And then Mercury will also retrograde May 30th to June 23rd in Gemini, which is your 4th house. You might find you are redoing or decluttering things in your home. You might be rethinking your family relationships. You might find that you are rethinking your communication approaches in regards to immediate family. Your schedule can go through sudden changes. You might suddenly decide to also, redecorate something. There can be a relative or someone that returns from the past or just returns home during this time. Or returns to you sort of in a mindful way where you're reminiscing over things and reevaluating how issues from the past might have affected you from your childhood. So it could be that they reappear more in a spiritual or a mental way that's allowing you to deal with issues from the past and grow and heal. Then let's have a look. Mercury will also retrograde September 27th to October 18th in Libra, in your 8th house of shared finances, shared money, your spouse's income, your spouse's source of income, your intimacy with your spouse. It can be any shared money, even with a business or inheritance. It can be alimony. It can be debts, taxes, bankruptcy, death. It can be trauma from the past. Things like that is what this house deals with. Now, with Mercury here in Libra, you could be decluttering some really deep traumas from the past. You can be dealing, it's a good time to deal with forgiveness and to forgive and let go. You might be spending a lot of time reevaluating love, reevaluating intimacy, reevaluating your money, how you spend it, your how you value things, your possessions, shared resources. You might be talking with your partner about how you're using that joint bank account. Maybe there's been some frivolous spending that needs to be addressed. You'll be readjusting your budget. This is not a good time to sign contracts or to buy very expensive things or to make new investments. Sometimes this can bring up old lovers from the past that either come back physically or they come back sort of in, like I said, in a memory kind of way for you to heal and purge. It's not a great time for beauty procedures. And basically, the best plan for any Mercury retrograde is to be as flexible as you can be, which means you need to be organized. in order for you to be flexible and to directly communicate as best as possible and double check your communications, understanding, listening, electronics, negotiating, all of those things. If you're traveling, that you've got your passports. Watch for stolen electronics, repairs. You don't want to purchase new electronics if you don't have to. No signing of contracts if you can help it, unless it's been a decision that's made before Mercury went retrograde. But even then, I would prefer to wait if it was possible. And that's pretty much the general gist of most Mercury retrogrades, power outages, internet, all that jazz. And pretty much through any of them, there can be people from your past coming up in your mind or physically, whether it's a friend or a relative or a lover, or, you know, and these things are you must always see them as happening for a reason. So whether it's pleasant or not, it's an opportunity for you to deal with things and move forward. And the Mercury retrogrades in 2021 are all in air signs. And this puts an extra emphasis on communication, on information, on technology, on media, and yeah, communication in general and the mind. And then Venus will retrograde December 19th to January 29th in Capricorn in your 11th house. And you might find that you're rethinking your social relationships, your alliances. They might require more work and effort with this transit. You may be feeling like you'd rather not join a social circle, or you might feel that you're taking criticism a bit more intensely during this time, because you're more conscious of your image and your status and what others think of you, or maybe what your coworkers or your boss thinks of you, and so forth. You might be contemplating your inner worth, or your inner worth is affected by, what you think other people think of you. And it's important that you don't measure your self-worth to what others think of you, or what you earn, or your position at work, or in a relationship. It's what God and you think that matters. And let's have a look at Jupiter's retrograde, June 20th until October 18th. This is a period of inner spiritual growth and reflection. And you might feel more compassionate during this. And you'll be placing more of an emphasis on the meaning of life and the deeper values and beliefs and spirituality and connectedness in the world and the universe. And with Jupiter retrograde here, it'll be your 1st and 12th houses. And this is a period where you might be challenging your own boundaries, where you might feel the need to, go skinny dipping or do something crazy that you don't normally do or would do. And it's sort of a time to sort of push the fear aside and jump and challenge your own boundaries. Create your own luck, especially if you know that this is a beneficial thing in the end, and you're willing to put your faith into it. You might also be investigating your faith more and spend more time in prayer and meditation. And you'll be more aware of injustices in the world, and you'll be more inclined to make a difference and be part of the solution. And this can sometimes prompt people to join political parties or some kind of group of some kind. But this is mainly a period where you're definitely more spiritually attuned, and you try and help others, and through that you're helping yourself as well. Jupiter can bring blessings in many ways, but when Jupiter is retrograde, I think many times that it's really a time to give back where you can give back to others and where you can have a lot of inspiration to make things happen for yourself as well. And then Saturn will be retrograding May 23rd until October 11th. And Saturn reminds us of reality and the aspects of life that we cannot avoid, such as taxes, rules, restrictions, length of life, taxes, I said that, duties, responsibilities, and even time itself. Did I say taxes? Sorry about that. Okay, so usually it's a time for restructuring. And it can be a heavy feeling because this is in your 12th house, and it can bring in past traumas and unconscious issues that come up to the surface that you haven't dealt with. But through dealing with these things, you're learning a lot of lessons. You're maturing, you're getting ready, you're finalizing things. But reach out for help if it's needed here. See a counselor if you need to. Get help if you need to. Sometimes in some cases, if other transits also support this, it can bring in an illness, maybe a mental hospital, or just a seclusion in general, or just a hospital, or it can even just make you less social. More inclined to be alone. Maybe you're in quarantine, or you could be feeling a little bit sad or depressed. It can sometimes deal with loss and separation or grieving, depending on what's going on in your chart otherwise. But your allegiances to groups can be tested here. You might be cutting ties with someone, or someone might be falling away in your life through this. And then let's have a look at the eclipses. There will be 4 in 2021. On the 26th of May, there will be a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, your 10th house of career, your job, your status, your employment, your reputation. It can be the settlement, say, of a law case, or the decision made by a court. It's also how the public sees you. And it can also be cousins or a parent, sometimes a mother. Now, with eclipses, there is a longer influence. There can be an influence 6 months prior and 6 months post. It's not necessarily something that happens on that day. So give it at least a 6-month period of sort of developing in order for you to see what's happening there. But with the lunar eclipse, and I will not be going into great detail about these. I'm just basically telling you the areas where it's hitting and what you could possibly expect there, maybe depending on your chart. And I will be going into detail more through the year as they occur, and then you can check out my videos for those. But a lunar eclipse is basically an ending of something, or a finalizing of something, finishing something up, or something's coming to a head, to a fruition point, to a fulfillment. Now, with this lunar eclipse will be in your 10th house. So this could be a career ending, or finishing up and transitioning into something else, or maybe, into a different position. But this part of it is finalizing now, or it's finalizing. Maybe you're getting ready for a new job, and things are coming towards that now. It can be the finishing of a status. Maybe you're getting divorced, or maybe you're getting married. Your current status could be changing, even status career-wise, or in a position that you have. Your reputation could be changing in some way. There can be an ending or a fruition point in regards to a relationship with maybe a boss, or with parents. Sometimes if there's a crisis, it can be something that takes you back to your roots, maybe takes you back to your family in some way. Sometimes this can be sort of a loss of authority in some cases, or a change in the direction of your life, that something is ending here and something new will be beginning. This can also be in regards to cousins or certain, say, decisions made by a court of law and so forth. And then the 10th of June, there will be a solar eclipse in Gemini in your 4th house of domestic affairs. And this is usually new beginnings or a new start or new intentions that's being set there. It's like a fresh energy there. And this will affect your home life. So this could be moving to a new home or the idea of it. It can be in regards to your parents or family relationships. It can be a new, connection with a family member where something might have been off before. It can be that you're moving home or just moving your home. It can mean that you are redecorating, or there's a new addition to the family, or there could be an added responsibility in your home now, something that's coming in. In this case, again, it can also point at a crisis that could possibly bring you back to your roots. Like maybe, you need to go help out at home or something like that. But this is usually something new and a new energy in that area. And then the 19th of November, there will be a lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is your 3rd house. And this can be a culmination or a fruition of something being finished up. And this can be in regards to how you understand things, how you think about things, the way you communicate. You could be finishing a course of study, like a short course. Maybe you have now finished driving school and you're ready to get your license. Maybe you are changing your neighborhoods and your everyday environment. It can be a transportation change, like a new vehicle, or not a new vehicle, but it can be that you're building up to buy a new vehicle. You're coming to that decision, or that it will be changing at some point. And this can also be that maybe you're finished writing a book, or maybe you are, there's a relationship that's changing in regards to siblings or relatives or people in your neighborhood or friends. Or maybe something that you've been doing online is changing and finishing up, like an online project or a writing project, or even a teaching lecture or something like that that's being finished up and finalizing. It can even be paperwork in regards to overseas travel of some kind that is now being brought to culmination. It can even be a new way of believing, a new way of understanding, and a new belief system that you're sort of that's coming into fruition now. Even decisions themselves, just a decision that's finally a point of making that decision has finally come. And then on the 4th of December, there will be a solar eclipse in Sagittarius in your 10th house of career and status and reputation and employer and so forth, and parents. And this is the house that's getting hit twice for you. this year. So this is a focused house for you as far as the eclipses are concerned. And this is a new energy, seed of intention in this area where you had the ending before, more around May. And then now there is maybe a new responsibility in regards to your parents that's taking place, or maybe new responsibilities or duties in regards to work. Your parental relations can change, maybe a new reconnecting with a parent on some level, or with an employer, or with a partner. This can be a new relationship, a status change, maybe getting married or getting divorced, the beginning of a new status for you. It can be a new career or a new job, a new direction and path in life can be initiated here. But this will basically affect your work and home, basically on this axis, your work and your home, and basically your whole life, because these are angles. So when they get hit, everything sort of gets affected by them. This can also involve cousins and parents, like I've mentioned. And then for most of 2021, there will be a bit of an uncomfortable square between Uranus and Taurus and Saturn in Aquarius, both in fixed signs that can be a bit hard to budge. And this is your 12th and 3rd houses. Now, on a collective level, everyone will be experiencing this difficult aspect. And this is basically tension between the new and the old, freedom versus restrictions, faith versus fear, that type of energy. And for you, this will mostly be in the area of your 12th house that deals with seclusion, faraway places, self-sabotaging habits, subconscious emotional patterns, grief, loneliness, separation, maybe hospitalization. Sometimes it can be endings of some kind, or loss of some kind. And this area, in connection with your 3rd house of the mind, of communication, of decision making, your movement around your neighborhood, your skills, your language, the way you talk and think, your siblings, your relatives, and neighbors, and so forth. So this can also be your transportation, and that type of thing. So there will be a bit of a tension between these two areas. It could possibly be in regards to restrictions, even on a subconscious level, that might be restricting you of making important decisions, or it can sometimes deal with paperwork, being restricted in regards to paperwork and faraway places, maybe immigration or traveling in some way. It could even be your general movement in your neighborhood can be restricted, or how you trade and how you communicate and so forth. So for everyone, it will kind of be different, but those are the two areas that will be affecting you, probably more so than others. And then I would recommend for 2021 the Vetiver essential oil and the Smokey Quartz crystal. Now, Smokey Quartz is a wonderful crystal to have. It gently dissolves negative energies. It can help with emotional blockages. It's also wonderful to relieve barriers that could exist between the alpha and beta state of the mind. It can also refine a vibratory energy in the state of meditation and give you more clarity and help to eliminate the impeding willfulness of the mind. It can also balance your yin and yang energy and help to facilitate the alignment of meridians in the body. It's energy balancing, and it's a wonderful grounding stone at enhancing the attentiveness to the moment and bringing a higher state of awareness. And Vetiver essential oil is a wonderful oil for relaxing. It helps to ground and calm you. It's wonderful to improve concentration. It also helps reduce inflammation. It can benefit and improve sexual desire. It's got so many wonderful benefits, and I encourage you to go read up on that. I'm not giving you any medical advice, but I would tell you that this is a wonderful oil to use. You can use it in a diffuser. You can also mix it with a carrier oil. Rub it under your feet, but just check out all the contraindications and consult a medical practitioner in case you are using other types of medications that could possibly be interacting with this. And I will be putting the description, a link in the description box below, where you can also get these wonderful essential oils of extremely good quality. And Pisces, I would like to thank you for allowing me to guide you through 2021. May God bless you and keep you, and may the sun shine bright on you this day and this year.